How did dialysis change your life?
In many ways, actually. First of all, it took away some of the spontaneity I have in my life. It requires scheduling, and 3 days a week I'm here, and when I'm done, I'm tired, and the tiredness is also another thing. I go home from dialysis, and I usually eat some lunch, and I fall asleep 2-3 hours. I tend to not sleep at dialysis. A lot of my fellow dialysis patients I see sleep. I usually don't. Maybe an hour every once in a while, but I usually don't sleep. But the tiredness, the scheduling of my life, the lack of spontaneity that I used to have. I mean, I still feel like I have a pretty full life. It's just at a lower pace than what I used to be at. So,
What would you have liked to known prior to starting dialysis?
I think the biggest thing for me was that I didn't know that my fistula had to mature. I probably would have opted to have the surgery sooner because I ended up having to have a catheter placed here because I needed to start dialysis before my fistula was functional. So I was very afraid to have the catheter put in, very afraid, but it ended up not being bad at all. You're awake. I was awake for the whole procedure, and they, immediately took me down after putting the catheter in, right down to the dialysis unit and started to dialyze me right there and that day. So,
Why did you choose this dialysis modality?
I was fortunate enough. I was affiliated with the UW in Madison with my insurance, and that's where I lived. They have a class called, I believe it's Options. I attended once by myself, and it was very informative. They talked about the different types. They actually scheduled us to go up into their unit, and I got to visit with a woman on dialysis, and that was so informative for me. And I had gone with the idea that I wanted to do the PD, the peritoneal dialysis. But with that, you have it's a tube, I believe, isn't it, Sarah? Something like. And you can't swim, can't go in a hot tub, you can't go in the lake, you can't do all these things. And I don't do them a lot, but when I do them, I really enjoy it. So not being able to do that is one of the reasons I didn't go with the PD. The other one is I moved here. My health was declining, so I sold my house. I moved to Viroqua with my sister, and I don't know anybody. And my sister thought it would be good for me mentally, socially, to come to the dialysis unit. And it has been. I love all the staff. They're just fantastic. And I consider them my friends. And I always say to my sister, I have to go to work today. So, and I didn't, as far as the home dialysis, I really didn't want to. I'm not afraid of needles, obviously, but I did not want to poke myself. So, and the biggest part of my decision was my pets. When they explained to me that with the PD or the home hemodialysis, that you can't have like your pets in your room. And at the time I started, I had a dog. My sister had 3 cats. And if you're a dog or cat lover, you know that you like to, they like to sleep with you. I like to have them sleep with me. I like to keep my bedroom door open. And because of infection and other things, you're not allowed to do that. And that would break my heart. I couldn't do that. But it just made better sense for me to come to in-unit. So, and I actually have to say, I enjoy my time here. I do. It's my social time. So,
What is your biggest challenge?
my biggest challenge is probably travel, scheduling. I do travel, and I recommend any dialysis patient should continue to travel if that's what they enjoy. But the scheduling aspect, I have to make sure I rent a house or stay in a hotel that's close to dialysis. I don't want to be going to some town and have to drive 60 miles to go to dialysis. So that's probably my biggest challenge, but I do it. I've traveled to Myrtle Beach, to Disney World, to Maine several times. Where else have I gone? But and you guys make it so easy. You just fill out a form, and the girls upstairs, they will find the closest dialysis center, and away we go. I have always been a person who, when I was working, I had a big glass of ice water on my desk, and I drank all day long. And at one point, when I had problems with kidney stones years ago, they wanted me to drink. And so that was never a problem because I always liked to have water. And now it's very hard for me. Even this is like my 4-year anniversary coming up. I still have a hard time not drinking. You go out to dinner with someone and you're having a glass of soda, a glass of water. It just comes and they refill it, and you just keep drinking, So I've had some more substantial weight gains because of that. So, and the salt restriction, I'm doing pretty well with that. I don't cook with salt really anymore. I don't salt really anything, but I do eat some foods that already have salt in it. So, but that is a very hard challenge for me. So,
Are you still able to do the activities that you enjoy in life?
to some degree, yes. I personally am a lot more tired because of dialysis and weak, if you will. And I find that the lack of spontaneity, again, is a challenge. But I can pretty much do everything I did before that doesn't require me lifting, things that would exert more energy than I had before. To me, it came on kind of sudden. I know it was building for years, but in my brain, all of a sudden one day they said, Carole, you really need to go see a kidney doctor. Okay. Then they did a biopsy of my, kidney and said, yes, it's your damage is due to your diabetes, and, dialysis is in your future, which started to scare me. The catheter scared me. The fistula surgery scared me. Knowing that my arm was never going to look the same. The morning of surgery, I even took a picture of it. I subsequently have deleted it, realizing it was a little foolish. But even if I have a kidney transplant ever, this arm is still going to always look like this. I have subsequently changed my whole mindset, and I don't mind wearing sleeveless blouses. I look at it, my fistula, as a badge of honor. It's keeping me alive. So I have no problem with it anymore. It's who I am, and it's what keeps me alive. So